Happy Thursday, Gordon here with another Tech Time with Gordon. Today I'm going to be talking about a serious matter, internet security. In regards to what internet security really means is basically established rules that help us fight against attacks over the internet. So basically you can always consider the internet kind of like a wild west. It's technically insecure. In regards to exchanging information, there is a high risk that someone can take it, and you can risk fraud, viruses, and all kinds of bad stuff. So what I'm going to do today is going to go over certain attacks or certain things that we should be aware of, and then go into some more detail of how to spot them and technically how to prevent them. So the first threat I would like to talk to you about is botnets. So basically this makes your computer into what I like to say, it makes it into a zombie, or basically enslaves it into someone else's control. So basically someone remotely will be controlling your computer and basically using it for nefarious means. These can be for a variety of different things. One is a DDoS attack, which I'm going to explain now. So with DDoS attack or distribution denial of service, basically this is going to happen to a large base organization. You probably have heard of, certain companies being DDoSed. And what this means is their website or servers are have an increased flow of people. So basically it's jam-packed with people, or computers in this term, and basically it has slowed everything down, slowed everything to a crawl that nothing is functioning properly. And generally these attacks are brought or happening because of botnets. So again, machines that have been controlled and sent out to these big organizations to slow things to a crawl, and now they're not working as they were intended to. So other common threats, hacking. I'm sure everyone has heard about hacking, but what it means is someone getting unauthorized access to our computer. So what this means is now they have access to our device. They can see what we're doing. They can take files. They can remove files. So they can do some nasty stuff. And sometimes how this is done is with what's called malware. So this is software that allows them to infiltrate our device. So you might find a program online that you want to, give it a shot. You don't really know about it. You download it and put it on your machine. Now you've given them access to, look through your machine. So malware, again, is a way of infiltrating and gaining access to your device. Another one that I commonly hear about is ransomware. So basically this is a type of malware that basically restricts access to our computer. So basically what's going to happen is all our computers, basically we're locked out of our computer. They've changed the keys, they've changed all the passwords, and now we can't do anything on our computer. And what's going to happen is they're going to demand a certain price in order to unlock the device. And I've seen this in one example where people are posing as affiliates with Microsoft, and they're going to say that you have a virus on your computer. Let me gain access to your computer to see what's going on. And once they have access to it, what happens is they lock everything down and they demand a ridiculous price in order to restore everything back to normal. So these are common threats that can happen to you or I with any of our devices. So in regards to how do I know that I've been hacked, or I'm at risk, maybe by accident I clicked on a website that I wasn't supposed to. How do I know that I should get my device checked? Well, there are a few signs that will help. If your computer is taking longer to start up, and again, you have to base this on what your normal computer is. If you have a 10-year-old device, it makes sense that it might take 5 minutes to boot up, or but if you have a brand new computer and the average time is about a minute, now it's taking 5 minutes to launch everything. and it's only been 2 years, that could be a sign that there's something happening in the background. You know, our program's taking longer to launch. You know, what this is generally is it means something is working in the background on our computer that's taking up all the memory. So basically something is taking up all the brain power of your device, and usually it's nothing good. You know, another thing, files start or data starts disappearing. So you did have these files and now you don't, or you might see other files that you're not familiar with that start appearing randomly on your device. If you don't recall or you don't know putting that stuff on, that can be a sign. Your system is constantly crashing, so programs are constantly crashing. Again, this is, you know, in regards to that memory hog, something in the background is taking up all the memory. Your programs aren't working as properly. Your home page on your browser has been set differently. Now, sometimes this can be, and you got to read sometimes the fine print of programs that you install. Sometimes they'll change your home page to their organization. So a lot of virus scanners love to do this. AVG, you install it. If you don't read the fine print and you have that checkbox, sometimes it'll set the browser to be AVG. So if you know you've recently installed something and it's changed it to that, you know, makes perfect sense. However, if you haven't installed anything and your browser, your home page constantly changes, you know, that's a sign. Web pages are moving slower. So again, that concept of slow. One is your computer screen kind of looks distorted. So you start seeing flickering, or, you know, it looks off. Sometimes what this means is someone's screen capturing or taking, or basically seeing what's happening on your screen currently. And, you know, the big thing is programs are running without your control. You notice that your mouse starts moving around and opening programs that you're not even touching, and you haven't given someone else access to your computer, you know something is happening, something is wrong. So, you know, how to avoid this? You know, the first thing you want to look at is strong password creation. So you want to have a strong password, because if you have a strong password, it's hard for a hacker or anyone to infiltrate your device to cause all this mischief. So, you know, things you're looking at, you don't want to use personal information. So, you know, people can find out information about yourself. So, you know, you don't want to use your street address, you know, birth dates and all that kind of stuff, because someone will be able, that's what they're going to guess. You know, to try not to use real words. So you can use different numbers. So, you know, mix it up. So some numbers look like letters. So, you know, zeros look like O's, threes look like backwards E's, ones you can say look like L's. You know, mix it up. By doing this, it makes it harder for them to try to get into it. You know, make sure to create longer passwords. So, you know, I say at least 8 characters. That should be minimum. A lot of places now want 12 to 16 characters long. You know, what you can do too is you can modify easy to remember phrases. You know, my example, 100 bottles of beer on the wall. You know, with that you could say 10 and then bottles, so B-O-B, bottles of beer. On, they've changed it to a 0, the T, and W, wall. So, you know, mix it up. You know, the biggest thing is when we have a strong password in place, it makes it hard for them to get in, and that's where we want to stop them at the beginning. We don't want them to get in and cause all this mischief at the start. Continuing with passwords, you know, you want to use a different password for all your different accounts. You know, the biggest thing is if you have the same password for everything, if they are able to figure out what your password is, they are easy, or they have easy access to all your other accounts. So it's kind of like falling dominoes. You know, one falls, they all start falling. So, you know, to make it harder for them to get into every account, you want to use a different password. And, you know, you don't want to if you're using a a public computer, or you're using your friend's computer, or you see a computer that's open up and you're like, I'm gonna check my email account. Don't. You don't want to type in passwords on computers you don't trust. The biggest issue is it could be saving or recording passwords on it. So now whoever's computer or device, whoever owns that device, now they have access to your passwords and can get into your accounts. One thing you can look at too is what's called two-step verification. So what this does is it adds an extra step of security to your accounts. I have this with basically all my accounts. What this does is you give them another way to interact with you. So generally this is by a smartphone or by another email account, and what will happen is once you put in your password for your account, it's going to say I'm going to send a message or an email, and you're going to have to put that password that we're sending to you. So what this means is basically it's even if they are able to figure out your password, they have to have access to another account. So they either have to have, and this is why I like using my cell phone number, they literally have to have my cell phone in order to get that two-step verification code. Email's not a bad thing as well. I generally would say don't use a landline. So with landlines, it just makes it difficult if you are out and it's asking for you to do that two-step verification and you're not at home to get that two-step verification. One thing too is remember with the two-step verification, if you are to change, like, you're going to change your phone number or change your email account, make sure that you change that information on all your accounts when regards to two-step verification. Because the issue is, let's say, for example, I changed my phone number, and then I try to do the two-step verification, and they want to send that code to my own old phone number. Well, now I don't have that old phone number, so I can't get access to that verification code, so I can't get into my account. So just remember, if you are using the two-step verification, just keep your information up to date. So when it comes down to email links, do not click on email links that you don't recognize. Clicking on that link can download that malware, can give someone access to our machine. It can do all sorts of nasty stuff. So if you're not familiar, you don't know what this link is, don't click on it. And you can look into it. So the biggest thing is you want to check the email address, like who's sending this to you. Like if you don't recognize the email, you shouldn't trust that link. Verify the contents of the email. Like if it makes no sense, spelling and grammar errors, it looks like gibberish to you, again, don't click that link. Verify that's authentic. What I mean by this is if it is from a friend or it's from a company that you recognize, you can always contact that person or organization and say, I received this weird email from you. Did you send it? I have a story in regards to this. I received an email from my brother saying, basically it said, was thinking of you, and then it had a link. And, one thing in regards to it, the message seemed odd. One thing, I don't speak to my brother in the form of email, and how he was wording everything seemed off. I checked if it was authentic by giving him a phone call and saying, hey, did you send that I got a weird email from you. Is it legit? And he said, no, it wasn't. And then quickly I said, well, your email has been hacked and someone is sending out these, weird emails. So, you do have to watch out in regards to this. Other things you can do too, you can hover over the link. So, don't click on it, just hover over it, and it should tell you exactly where it's going to send you. And for these bogus ones, they're going to have percent signs that literally look like gibberish. But if you're not comfortable with it, when in doubt, don't click on it. Delete that email. If it was that important, they'll try to contact you by other means. Your friend's going to say, did you see that funny link that I sent you? And you're like, oh, could you send it again? I wasn't sure what it was. But yeah, if it's that important, they'll send it. But it's better to be safe than actually click on something that can do damage to your machine. So, websites, again, that concept of wild, wild west, some websites can be dangerous to you. Well, how do I figure out if it's safe? You can do on your browser. Generally, they'll have safety tools. For Chrome, if you go to Settings Advanced, you can go to your privacy and security and then kind of check in regards to protection. Double check the URL. So what I'm talking about is that website on the top and that at the top of the page. If it has spelling mistakes or it looks incorrect, you might be on a fraudulent website. So the example, instead of Yahoo, if I put in Yahoo and put 2 zeros for O's, it probably will still get me to a page that looks like Yahoo, but it's a fraud. It's trying to get me to put in information that they can take. So, just double check what you're typing in. If you make a mistake, be aware that you made that mistake and retype it in. Don't think that you're on the legit website because you're seeing it. This could be a fake, so you want to make sure that you spell it out correctly. If you can, especially if you're putting information on the website, like if you're giving them bank information, passwords, any information about yourself in general, you want to make sure that that website has HTTPS. So with that simple S, that stands for secure. So they'll have security procedures involved. You want to see this. And generally in a browser, you might even see a lock. This will indicate the S, and if you hover over it, it'll let you know what information it's keeping private. If you don't know exactly what the website is for like a company, just call them, contact them. They'll get you the direct information and the correct information. You can install web security tools. A lot of antivirus software will now will add something to your browser, which will make it a little more safer. I know with AVG, basically when I do a Google search, it will actually give me a green check mark next to each website indicating that it should be safe. Those that are yellow or red indicate that there could be something wrong with it. And with all doubt, you want to avoid clicking on pop-ups if possible. Sometimes even that little X on that pop-up could lead you to somewhere else. So, when in doubt, if you get to a website and you're getting bombarded by pop-ups, don't interact with them. Just close that website down, close the browser down, and then start from scratch. Because, potentially clicking on that pop-up, even though you're clicking on the X, could be doing something more than you realize. In conclusion, internet security is more vital than ever. We are living in a digital age where we are doing shopping online, we're doing our banking online, we do most of our correspondence online, and with social media, we are putting a lot out there. So we want to make sure all this information is secure. So, with my advice with this video in regards to, creating a long password, using antivirus, verify the authenticity when it comes down to emails. Hopefully you guys will remain safe. Without a doubt, think before you click. That concludes today. Hope everyone has a great week, and I'll see you next Thursday. Bye for now.